Morning, Dowse.
Morning, David.
Let's get the worst bit out of the way, perhaps. Last Saturday, not the result, or probably more important, the performance that you would have wanted.
No, we were better all round. Stronger, good side. I thought we never really had that many weaknesses, to be honest. The only thing when you have games like that, is that you got to stay in the game for a bit. You do. You know, we've learned against the Notts Counties of the world when I was down here and they beat with 4-0 that time. They scored in the first, whatever. When you play teams like that, you've got to stay in the game for a tad time. We never. After 2.5 minutes, we've been down one centre half, crossed in, the two lads in the back post, tap in. And I just thought I'd set the tone. When you have that, you got a new manager, it's a bump. I was hoping that we would stay in the game for longer periods and what and good like we did in the second half. We had a period of 20 minutes when we done well. But the game was already put to bed a bit by then, to be honest, But listen, we all got to take a blame. We thought we would play a 3-5-2 because that's what we had been playing. And we've matched up on that because we believe that's what happened. So a little bit, if that's wrong information going to the players, a little bit, to be honest, because that's what we told them we would do because they've been playing it the last 6 games. And when he was at Brighton, the manager played the same thing, but it took us by surprise playing a different way. So I think as a management team, we've got to take some responsibility as well, to be honest.
Right, I actually have got the word formation written down here. Yep. I didn't realise that you went that way because of what you expected.
Yeah, we watched the videos, and Ian watched the videos as well. And like I say, the last 6 games, that's how we have been playing. And the lad who got a job from Brighton was playing that in the under-23s as well. So we put 2 and 2 together and come up with 5, to be honest. Yeah. We told the players that that's what we would play. I'm just being honest, so I'm just, and so the bottom line is players, and I thought they were excellent, the best I've seen this season at the minute. Until I got to start the season, I thought Notts County to win the league. But I looked at these today, I was blinking, they're very good. And so I thought they were very, at this minute who we've played and what we've played and all the rest of it, I thought we had been the best up there. So, but, if we're maybe as a management group and maybe as players got it spot on from the start, we didn't concede in the first couple of minutes when it could have been a different ball game. So I'm well aware that we've got to get the next one spot on.
Yeah, you perhaps raised a few eyebrows with your selections as well.
Did I?
I think so, yeah. Tyler Reid comes in out of nowhere. You leave Charlie Cooper, who some would say has been the best player in the club this season, on the bench. Ben Dempsey on the bench.
But can't play every game. They can't play every game. But some of them are absolutely knackered. I felt the performance of whole, and we might have it again this week. And listen, if you think I'm making excuses on here, I never do. And where 2 games on Ashford turf takes a lot out of people. The Bromley thing takes a lot out of people. And I felt as though that we might need a little breather, a little bit of freshness in there. And then Tyler's been playing as his position, right wing back. That's where he loves to play. And before, after how he trained, we thought he's going to be absolutely fine. The formation probably didn't work. To be honest, we're getting turned apart a bit, so I can only do what I think's best on the day. I do think, we've got 5 or 6 lads that one can't play at the moment now because we've trained on Ashford turf pitch this week, and so, some of them don't like it. Tops can't play on it, as you know, and Matty can't play on it, as you know. And I just felt as though that was like a few tired legs. Let's have a change. Let's get some freshers in. Let's prove that people who were coming in wanted to stake a claim and keep their places. Droppings, no. Ben Dempsey, no. No. Just a bit of freshness coming in, and that's what I want to do.
Right. Okay, so it was as much rotation.
100%. Yeah. And Taylor, like you say, that's where his positions most of his career has been. So we thought it'd be a natural thing. Obviously, because we missed the left hand side with Casey, well, that's what we were on But the formation which we thought we would play didn't play. So I've got to take that responsibility as well.
Okay. Is that scoreline an indication of the gap between teams like us, if you like, around the middle of the league and the ones that are genuinely got a chance of winning it?
Gaps, but there's always going to be gaps, man. Right, okay. So I got a job, as you know, I'll explain this in 5 minutes. Let's talk more than 5 minutes down, because if I tell the truth, then people might say yes, no. I got a job a few years ago, and I looked at working football club, but I also looked at all the teams in the league. Well, I had to go from full-time to part-time, got it right. But I wanted to do it differently. I wanted to make sure everybody believed in what I was doing. And I wanted to go down the local boys club, I wanted to go to the local schools, I wanted to go into hospices, I wanted to see this lovely woman called Yolanda, who has got lovely hair now, herself. And I wanted to knock on that door and say, I'm glad that you feel better. She's very ill, she was. And I wanted to, at Christmas, I wanted to be the bloke who went in the town centre. I wanted to go and meet a local landlord. I wanted the whole thing of the belief that the kids, the scouts, I met a woman from the scouts yesterday and said, it's horrendous that you've got nowhere to stay. Maybe we can use our hall when everybody gets back together. I wanted to go in the local town centre and meet the supporters, down the local working man's club and meet them as well. I wanted to do everything possible so everybody had a belief in what I was trying to do for a football club. The charities, I've even decided to do a wing walk, believe it or not, in April when it gets for the hospice. But I wanted to know the hospice people. I didn't want to just do it, not know them. It seems the cherry trees and things like that. I wanted to know the people. Like I say, the boys club where we can get some of the council, for example. I've had meetings with the council because they're not bad, they're nice people. I wanted to be the bloke who brought something in the football club. I wanted this football club to be more than just a club. I wanted to be the hub. I thought the only way I could get us up there is by getting everybody to have a belief what I was trying to do. Everybody having a belief what is us against everybody else. It's that thing. Yes, like anything else, COVID kills it a bit and all that because I can't do that. So when I thought, I'll tell you what, my ways of working here and how I planned it and how I planned working in my own head, and everybody knew us as Dowse. And like, for example, I'll walk on the high street there and the little girl will say, Dowse, are you coaching me Wednesday? And I love that fact, you know. Like I say, Yolanda, who was very poorly, and her and her husband come to games and things like that. I like the fact that I can knock on that door. There've been people who've lost their loved ones at the hospice. I like the fact that I can knock on their doors and say, listen, you're not forgotten about and all that. I wanted to be where the cleaners could come and sit in my room and just sit there and actually ask about them. I wanted to give you my first trophy when I got manager of the month, David. I wanted to be there for the people and the man of the people and change the whole, because I just thought our club never really had that. It'll be up and down and where we go and things like that. And I thought we'd done it very, very well, and we're starting to do it well till last season. And I couldn't meet the people anymore. I couldn't ask supporters help to do. So at the start of the season, I don't blame a club one bit. I may have a club, Neil Morrison, Rosemary, I may have them all what we had done. So what we had done at the start of the season is we had said to me, listen, you've only got a couple of $100,000 to spare, do what you can do, because one, we don't think the league's going to start, two, we've got to protect the club. Every other club in our league and growing up were different to us because we were part-time. You can't furlough part-time players. So I was in a position where I couldn't offer really Musa anything, I couldn't offer anybody anything. I tried to wheel and deal and do whatever I can. Come a week before the start of the season, when they knew what was going to happen, it gives a bit more to do. So I had to go on the loan. So I always knew it'll be a tough year. I sat in the pub with Ian and I said, listen mate, and all the times I've been in, I do it if I can do it, how to keep you up, because I would never like the people, and I always said I wouldn't take them back where I got them from. So I had to make a decision then. I had to talk about it and think, okay, I'm going to keep them in the league. That's the determination I want to try to do. So now we've come from where we are now. The stick going around, which I don't mind at all. I get toolbox mainly going on, which is fine as well. And I've always said, a manager's got to be upfront. It doesn't matter what I said at the start of the season. But listen, there's a couple of things what can happen here. As you know, I'm a first in the morning, last one at night. I'll sleep in my hotel. The chairman has been beautiful. Again, Rosemary. You haven't got. I hope you got the belief that we've got in you. Brilliant. Kelvin Ray has been different here, sitting there. You're a man. John Gatz has been brilliant. Because I thought me and John, his thoughts would be a dream ticket all round, because he's got the same thing as me, saying, the top 12 clubs have got sugar daddies. We haven't got one, so we've got to do it a different way. Where how can we compete with them? Can we get the whole thing, which I wanted to do anyway, in plan to get in place? John had the same thoughts and said, yeah, okay, let's make it into a massive and we'll build it and build it and build it. But supporters can get restless as can, especially when you're a manager who hasn't won a few games at the minute and find things tough a little bit at the minute. Don't say it with tactics. Now, that's rubbish, man. And because I've won championships at all my clubs and all that, I'm having a bit of a tad of a time with results and things like that, and I need to dig through it, okay? I still want to be the first one here. I still want to be the last one to leave. I still want to try to do the best I can for working football club, because it's been a massive part of my life. I wanted to give me life to it. That's what I wanted to do. But on the flip side, I could be here in 2 weeks' time and there's a change of direction. I might think at the end of the season there should be a change of direction. I didn't believe in the contracts being talked about, is because, I did see it, that even though I thought the club was right at the start of the season, nobody else, when I was thinking the bottom 2-3 clubs having all these problems, I thought to myself, we've got worse than problems than these, to be honest, okay? Then also you get friends in the game here who will go against you a bit. I can't be seen to look at it. I do get to a lot what's going on. I think a lot of it, it's fair. A lot of it is for supporters who are just anxious for the team to win. But I can't say anything more than I've said there. That's what I want to do. So I could be here for 2 weeks, 2 months, and at the end of the season we could all sit down and say, okay, how are we going to get the club up to next stock person eventually and all that, or it could be another idea, somebody else coming in. I'm relaxed about the whole thing. All I know is I've had a very successful 12 years, and the last 7 have been great. Football has a culture of getting sick of managers get sick of clubs, if you like. And I'm well aware of that as well. So only thing is I want to try to shock a few people tomorrow. I want to try to work with players on a part-time basis and getting the best they possibly can. I want to get into players who are fantastic. Most of them have been for the last few years, and that's why I got named the conference out, because I thought if I could trust a few players at the end of the season to get where we need to be. Yes, I had a blank sheet of paper when I first got a job. All being well, I might have another one at the start. It's up to the players now to prove herself and then to prove herself. But that's where I am, so I can't do anything more in my own head. I'm enjoying the job every day. The pressure of football management getting a sack, which I've never had, and I probably think it's quite funny, to be honest. I wouldn't bother us. Or me deciding that the season that, okay, I've given my life to that for 3 years now and all that. You know, some of the things I give my life to that for 3 years. I need a different challenge myself. But at this minute, I'm happy being working manager. I'll work my socks off till we sit down in the summer and I decide, or we decide, or anything can work. Not get a contract. Okay, go a different direction. Work with John Gatz, brilliant, let's go. Get a contract and not think it's worth it for me in my position in life at the minute and what I've got to do, great. So everybody's trying to make things for us. Like, for example, Rosemary Johnson's a very kind woman. I've loved working with her. She thinks a lot of it with me. I took a long time getting over COVID, you know, and maybe I did. Maybe, you know, I was on my deathbed, as you know. Maybe the stupidest thing I ever done was, when I got better after 7 weeks, I'd done a 20 lap round Gosford Park. Of course, it affected me lungs. I'm not going to. People don't need to know that, but it blinking. You know, I got things in my lungs and I couldn't breathe and I found it hard, difficult. And she'd always say, "Well, Dowse, listen, you had it there. It affected me kidney stones. It affected." But now, in the last month, I haven't had a drink. I've got a clean bill of health. I'm running every day. I think young Daniel's running with us now, so I whip his, but I do and stuff like that. I do, and I feel great. So I think I'll get me extra 10-15%. So maybe Rosemary is right. Maybe it took me a little while to get over my COVID stuff. And then the energy, what I try to show and things like that. So I'm well aware about what people can see, but all I know is that I've got loads to give in football. I've always wanted to do it here, but I just thought if we all tell the truth, and by all means hammers on these things what you do, like, you know, and if you do and you do it, and obviously I've got young family, if you like, and I've got people who will say, bloody hell, I said that. I can't do nothing about it. I've just got to kick on it. But I'm there, I'm manager tomorrow. And I might not be manager next week. That's how football works. I hope I am. But I'm going to give everything tomorrow and everything Tuesday, because we've got 3 easy games, Sutton twice and Torquay once. But my honest job was I wanted to try to do it at work in a different way. The next guy here, I'll be sitting there who'll want to do it this way or that way. You could get a new word like John, want to do it. I'll always do it my way. I'm very ignorant. I don't really take much notice of a lot of people, to be honest. I'm very much set in my ways how I manage a football club. I'm no different, so I'll not change my ways. Even like coming off the pitch, David, people say, you shouldn't go and see the bloke to get interviewed first and all that, you know. I've always done it. The blokes have got jobs to do. The lad Peter Moore from the radio has got a job to do. You have got a job to do. So yes, at times I'll come in and talk rubbish. Probably more. Most of the time what you're thinking, David. But anyway, but if I've always done it, why should I change because I'm losing a few matches?
No, absolutely. So turning to the next couple of games then. Ian Dyer's in the paper today, in the local paper, saying that if he's got to choose between beating Sutton tomorrow or Tuesday, he'll pick tomorrow. Isn't the league more important than the trophy?
I don't think so. I think it's. I think you got to win both games. Try to win both games, but if you've got 30 league games left at 28, you can do enough of them. This is a one-off game to try to get to Wembley. Yeah. So if you've got 2 chances that you might not get the top 7, and where we think we are at the minute as a club, you'd be thinking that's a great. I've never been to Wembley before. He hasn't. We've won championships before, and we've had the great days down here in the playoff finals and FA Cups. But now been to Wembley, so I don't think anybody would want to miss out on a Wembley trip, to be honest. Sure. The league's massively important as a whole. What would you rather do? Stay in the league, or of course you would stay in the league, but it's a one-off game. I know what he's thinking. Yeah. You know, if it was like, we'd rather get to Wembley and get relegated, he wouldn't mean it like that. He would have meant, like, you know, if it's 2 games there, take that one because we've got 20 odd games to do with the rest. I think that's what he's meaning, because it'd be a great day out at Wembley. Yeah. Roughly, 3 games. I'm 3 games away.
Yeah. Probably. I'm not certain, to be honest.
No, I'm not.
Is it the last 16?
Is it? I just is it?
I don't know.
We've got. So listen, if you beat it, nobody said it's easy. Obviously, Dover in our league, and Bromley in our league, and Sutton in our league. So people can't say we've done it with easy way, to be honest. So a great go. Looking forward to the game. They're fantastic management there and done a fantastic job. And that's the next level I want to get us at the Sutton way, because Sutton haven't got millions. And Sutton had a cut down. We've got 2 great lads there who do it the right way. And the way we look as you come to Sutton, you're getting that. And that's the things I'm trying to get here, and I need to get to eventually. Because Sutton haven't got all those millions of pounds, to be honest. We have been the most overachieving club up there. I'm telling you that now, with 2 great management team.
Yeah, I was going to say that after last Saturday, and then what happens next? Sutton go up there and beat them 2-0 up there.
But unbelievable result.
Is that a bit scary for tomorrow?
It could be, but it's one of them. But never scares in football. Not bothered with football. You get there and you plan a team to win a game, and you could say, well, it was an own goal from a halfway line when the keeper got sent off, but didn't take that away from Sutton. Sutton went there, rolled up the sleeves, and beat them on their own backyard. What a great result that is! And the two lads are honest kids who have been successful, who've been around the game a long time, and they've done an unbelievable job. We've got to be looking up at Sutton, how we do things full time there, how we do things on the budget, what we do, and all that, and that's what we've got to catch up with something like Sutton, because Sutton in the top 7 have got no right to be there. We're doing it because we've got good management and a good organisation, a good chairman, a good committee. We've got a lot to have.
Good. Okay. Is Casey likely to be fit tomorrow?
I doubt it. Very much doubt it. No, he's got a knock. We had another one in training yesterday as well. To be fair, you bang your head down and you think, but it's football, it's life in there. But you're not be too far away. He's seen Gary Looney, he's getting injections, I think, and things like that. You'll not be too far away. So if it's not tomorrow, it'll be next week, I believe, or the week after. That's not going to be 4, 5, 6 weeks. It's going to lose that trained yesterday, which was a plus. When Malachi looked sharp in training yesterday, Jack Skinner looked very sharp in training yesterday. So there's a lot of options we have got, in the wide areas. And we just got, obviously with Torps, he'll be back after Tuesday because he can't play on the AstroTurf pitches, and we'll get him back sharp as well. So it's but I think Casey might be out a little while, to be honest.
Right, okay. I said Ian Dyer's been talking to Clive for the Surrey Advertiser. You've been talking to Rob Hemingway, Woking News and Mail, who says that you are aware that quite a number of players in the squad know already that they're unlikely to be here next season because of going full time. Are you worried about motivation in that?
Not at all. I don't think there's many players, to be honest. I think we're aware that we would like to, and I think we're aware that the new guys coming wants to. We'll have to do it away like we talked about, a Sutton way to start with and things like that. We will. Am I aware that nobody can do it at the minute? No. Are we aware that there's contracts? Everybody's contracts up. Basically, I see except for Musa's here, and we've got option on Loza as well. Musa was the first one I really put my money on for next season, to be honest. When I had a bit of money, more money to spend. But I think it's a two-way thing. What a lot of them will be thinking. So I hope he hasn't took it out of context, which can happen with my accent and all. Okay, but it's but I hope that where yes, there'll be players there thinking, should I or shouldn't I imagine? Yes, there'll be players saying, I would love to do that. I think that's the majority would love to do it. We've got to prove that they can. No, motivation's never been a problem with me. I don't think ever. I think that's one of my biggest strengths, to be honest. I think if you ask players about me and all that, I think one of my biggest strengths is motivation and having a belief that we can take on anybody. So I don't think that's a problem. But I do think there's a lot of players who would sign contracts now for next season. I just haven't done that thing yet to do that.
Okay, well you must have misunderstood my accent then, because I meant motivation on the players' part. If they know they're not going to be here if they know in their own head that they won't be here next season for whatever reason.
That's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question where
are they still going to put it in?
I think because my little fear of thinking, should we mention it at all? That's what I was thinking at the start. When I got brought up with great ideas. John, fantastic, and we're going to do this next season, which is great. And the lads come very American. He's come across very, very well. I like him. He'll speak every day. I like him a lot. But the way of thinking, if we're doing saying nothing, nobody knows what we're doing, and just plan behind the scenes, but people will find out.
Yeah.
So yes, there might be a couple of people like that to be on, but I don't think so in our squad. I honestly don't. I really don't. I think an honest bunch of players who will need help. If the crowds were back, I would have tried to use everything I could by going to local bars and pubs and going on the terraces myself and saying, listen, I need you here. The young boys, I need you. We haven't got that, so we've got to find a way ourselves we'll do to get through it. And that's what we'll do. It could be a little bit thinking, I might not be here next season. I think that goes on all clubs. I think there's a lot of clubs out there that have the same problem. So the best thing for them is make a clock out quite early, to be honest. I don't think anybody's actually out there and said, he doesn't want to be here next season. He's not. But if I did clock that, I could clock things quite early, and I wouldn't play him anywhere. So it would be a waste of time.
Right. Finally, perhaps the most important thing we should have been discussing is whether the league's actually going to be completed or not. Is there any sort of information or opinion on your sort of managers' network? Because you all talk to each other all the time, don't you?
I'm not in the heaviest groups that do. I don't mean bother them, to be honest. When you've been there before, if I watch a game, I watch them by myself. I think there's some great managers out there, great kids and all that, and stuff like Andy Heseltine and Smudger and all them, lot of great people, But I think, the league started. If it started, it should finish. My opinion. Money is I got that. If it's a loan and not a, if it's a grant and all, I got a complete all should down because that's what we can't afford to do. That's or most clubs going. The sugar daddies. Let's get the cards on the table. Everybody will look after their club. Don't have none of it because even I could see it. I'll tell you what, Rose, maybe we're going down the ladder a bit here, and if I can get rid of it and blah blah, that'd be crap by me. That'd be wrong for football. I'd rather get the sack and blink and do that, to be honest. Okay, I reckon 95% of clubs look after themselves. Absolutely, completely look after themselves. If we're bottom of the league and they're struggling or haven't got to find out whatever, we'll do that. If we're top of the league and we're a bit of a sugar daddy and money's not that much at odds, we'll make sure it starts. You got the ones at the top trying to preach at the ones at the bottom. Yeah, well, what are you doing? How do you know what they're blinking doing? You got the ones at the bottom probably jealous of the ones at the top who have got a bit of money, and right, it swings around. It can't be what's best for the football. It's got to be what's best for football, not just their clubs. You're getting these people say we're not going to play, but last season they wanted to play one on the playoffs. It's a twisted thing all the way around. Me personally, if there's a possibility of playing it, let's all play it. If it's the ones where it's a loan, instead of a grant, when you're going into a lot of debt, you've got a debt, then we should scrap it. As simple as that. And I think we've got to be till we get supporters in. Then if everybody knows that, let's go. I understand our league will be desperate to keep it running because it will lose affinity with the football league and nobody coming up and down. That's a massive thing. The north and south. I feel for people like Guy McCann, who's done an unbelievable job at Hampton, who's pushing boundaries and all to try getting our league and all that, and you think, if that's get taken away, it's another season. And I understand that. The only thing I always think is myself, if I put myself 2 years ago and we were to a Torquay and people said to us it was getting scrapped, I'd be devastated. Absolutely devastated. So you've got to think of what's best for football. So me personally, I think everybody's trying to look after themselves the best they can, rightly or wrongly so. I don't think anybody thinks outside the box. I think if it is, my honest opinion, loans, scrap it. If we can do something where the government will back work and do things which it should do, my opinion, and all that, and do it as a grant, let's play it. That's what I think.
Okay, I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you.
Good.
Including me.
Well, that's the first, isn't it? Don't know, flick it out, that's the first.
It was bound to happen eventually.
Oh no, cricket only took 3 years, David. That's when you knew when to quit. So I'll be saying no, David, after that one.
That's it, your job's complete.
I'm done.
Right, best of luck tomorrow.
Lovely.
On the way to Wembley, and look forward to seeing you there.
Brilliant.